Hello everyone, this is Ninja Guy _12 here, bringing you a Gunpla review of the high-grade Gundam Seed Ginn Type High Maneuver 2, or what I will be calling it for the rest of this video, the Ginn High Maneuver Type 2 from the Mobile Suit Gundam Seed Destiny anime series. This kit came out in the year of 2005. And it retailed for about $15 or like 1,500 yen. Although this kit does say it's from 2005, this is actually a remold of the 2003 mobile Ginn with just the new parts to make it into this specific mobile suit. So you will be actually getting some leftover parts, which I will talk about later. And the other thing I noticed, I actually cut the box, so I have it in multiple different parts, so we're just going to go through one by one. So of course we have the box art, which I gotta say I really do like the box art a lot. Pretty old school though. You have the Blazaku warrior in the background. That would be the one that Atherin was using. I unfortunately do not have a standard Zaku Warrior. I have the Gunner Zaku Warrior Lunamaria Hawk version, so I will show a comparison. There it is with the Force Impulse is also in the background, so that's some other stuff right there. The next thing we take a look at is one of the sides of the box. Just says it's basically number 29 in the HG Gundam Seed line. Pretty cool. And then over here, I think this would be either the top or the bottom of the box. So you have the front view, rear view, action and weapon, detail, and then some information here. Unfortunately, most of this is all in Japanese, so you're probably going to have to use a Google Translate or something to really read most of this information, but I will probably link the Gundam Wiki page about this mobile suit in the description. And then over here we have a big block of text, some specification, an image of the pilot Sato, some images there from the anime, and then what this kit will look like without any painting, which does look nice. I think this is kind of telling you that the stickers are also applied. But yeah, as you can see, the katana and the scabbard are going to be the biggest parts that you will need to paint. So that's actually not too bad. And then finally, before we take a look at the kit itself, we got to take a look at the manual. So here you have a nice big kind of painted reference of the kit in an action pose. Just more big blocks of text here. You have a nice animation line art here from the anime. A little bit about the sword. An image of the Ginn High Maneuver Type, the original. I do have that kit, so I will be comparing that with this kit as well. Another pic about Sato here. More information. And then when we open it up, we got more action poses here. A bit about the beam rifle, the shield here, the backpack. Doesn't look like some more specifications over there. The mechanism, a bit about the sword, the color guide here, basically what you will be needing to paint. And then the weapons, detail, and then the other kits in the lineup, which would be the Groove Ignited Hiding Western Flus Custom, and then the Blazaku Phantom Reza Barrel version. There we go. Thank you, Brain. And then over here we have the parts list, which basically all these parts are actually just reused from the mobile Ginn. This is actually the only new runner of this kit. And then you have the bit of polycaps. And then into the construction, you start with the body, then the head, the beam rifle, the scabbard, the shield, then the shoulder, then the arms, then making your way to the backpack, putting that all together, then working on the legs, the feet, more about the legs and feet. And then here on our colored pages, we have building the description, or building the waist section, the extra leg armor that goes onto the legs, putting that all together, putting the sword into the scabbard, and then how to attach the shield. So now we can take a look at the Ginn high maneuver type itself. And here is the completed Ginn high maneuver type 2. All pretty much straight out of the box with some minor things changed. So for one, I did a little bit of panel lining here, a little bit on the kind of sections here on the front skirt, and then a bit on the shield. The other thing I did, drill a 3mm hole in its butt so I could plug this onto an action base. Then the last thing I did is modify the front skirts a bit, because straight out of the box they're molded together, but there's no way to separate them. So I just took the liberty of separating them and modding them myself so that they can move independently. I just got to make sure this is firmly pressed all the way, this kind of crotch section. Make sure this is pushed all the way in so that these side skirts or front skirts don't go anywhere. But otherwise, this kit is pretty much straight out of the box. So it does look quite nice, though if you do look a bit, you will see quite a few seams. This one's probably the most noticeable one here, and probably one of the ugliest ones, pretty much right next to the ones on the legs. So, yeah, this kit is going to be quite seam heavy, though because of the dark color scheme, you're not really going to notice some of the other seams too much. We have seam lines in the forearms, we have seam lines on the legs, seam line, I think, on the head, especially on the back. And then this section here, the backpack, has a seam. Then on the shoulders, you have just a tiny, tiny seam here. Same thing goes for the new chest parts. So, speaking of which, I do want to also go over the accessories before we take a look at anything else. So, for once, we have these holding hands. And these are basically meant to hold on to the sword here, which I have at the moment. Basically, it just plugs into here. But you get another hand option, and that is this hand. Sorry about that. Let me just put that back. There we go. This hand, which is meant to hold on to the beam carbine. Yeah, fortunately, it's not really that tight, but if you kind of put it up all the way like this, make sure the hand's all the way closed, now it is super secure. So that is it for what you get in terms of hands. Just these two holding hands and this other holding hand. It would have been nice to at least get a open palm hand, but whatever. And yeah, of course, we got to also take a look at accessories. So of course you have the beam carbine, which is very simple construction, 2 halves slapped together. Part for the barrel, though it does have some really nice detail. Got the little face there on the kind of cartridge. Unfortunately, there is no way to actually store this when you're not using it, so pretty much it's either in the hand or you have nothing. Of course, we also have the scabbard with the sword, the katana, which is obviously going to require a lot of painting. And this will actually just fit into the hand, or these hands that are meant to hold on to the melee weapons, quite well. Like so. This ain't going anywhere. Though you can kind of move it in and out a little bit inside the hand, but it's not going to actually just fall out per se. And then to attach the scabbard, you basically use this connection here on the side skirt, which actually does appear on the other side, but if you do put it on this side, it's not going to look correct because of the way the connector is. So it just plugs in here like so. And then take out the katana out of the hand, then plug this in here. So very easy to plug it in. And then finally we have the shield. Very simple. Have a little bit of hollow parts going on here, but probably the biggest thing that kills it is the fact that you have this metallic sticker on the shield, whereas all the other red, which is on the scabbard, parts of the wings, and then this part for the head, those are all regular red, matte red, I should say. This is metallic, but it's not supposed to be. It's supposed to be the exact same red, so I don't understand why they couldn't just give a regular matte sticker. But it does plug into the hand quite well. So if you had any horror stories about the high-grade Freedom Gundam that basically has to rely on the hand to hold onto the shield, don't worry. This kit actually holds onto a shield pretty much without any problems. Pretty much the only problem is if you basically kind of have a close-up, because you could kind of clash with the backpack and the shoulder. That's basically the only problem. But otherwise, the accessories that officially comes with this kit are quite nice. Now, although what I just showed you are the official accessories, basically the hand with the beam carbine, the shield, and the sword, you do, because this kit is a remold of the 2003 Mobile Ginn, you do get some leftover parts, all of which you can use with this kit. So, starting off with the first leftover parts that you could use, the leftover shoulder parts of the original Ginn. And although you might be seeing this little hole here, you might wonder, is there a missing part? No, actually, that's just for the high maneuver type, because there's actually a piece for that kit that plugs into these shoulders. So, basically, if you don't have that part, these are just normal Ginn shoulders. So, if for some reason you don't like these new shoulders, you can use these. They look quite nice. I don't know which one I prefer more, because I do like those new shoulders a lot. Next up, you get these leftover pieces here, which I have left on the runner. And basically, if you do not like these extra chest parts, underneath it is the normal Ginn torso, but what is it? These parts actually plug into this part of the chest here. I don't know if you can really see. Basically, you plug these in instead of these kind of purplish parts, and then basically you just have a normal Ginn torso. So that is quite useful if you don't like these new parts here on the torso. If you do not like this piece here on the backpack, which I kind of don't like, you have this piece, which basically just transforms into a normal Ginn backpack. So if you don't like this new piece, which I will probably change out at the end of this review, you could use this piece that is included. And then the last leftover piece that you do have, the sword of the just normal Ginn. So if for some reason you do not like this sword, or you just wanted a kind of cool sword to give to another kit, this kit comes with an extra here. And it does plug into the hand pretty much perfectly. Pretty much once you squeeze it in there a bit. Whoops. There goes the hand. Just plug that back in. Plug the hand in. And there you go. No wiggle whatsoever. So, that is some quite useful leftover parts if you, for some reason, wanted to change some aspects of this design if you don't like them. That's quite good. I also forgot to mention the stickers. So here's the sticker sheet. Basically, you have sticker for the black for the visor, pink for the mono eye, pink for the front camera, but you do not get one for the back camera, strangely. So here would be a little camera, but unfortunately you don't get one. And you also see the pretty obvious seam line there. These two black ones I did not use. These are for the front skirts here. These little gray ones go onto these sections here of the extra chest armor, and then obviously this red metallic one goes onto the shield. So now let's move on to the most important aspect of this kit, the articulation. And for this segment, I've basically removed all the accessories pretty much off this kit, so we can just focus on all the articulation here. So starting off from the head down, the head barely moves up at all. And that's mostly due to the fact that there's this little tab bit sticking out on the back here, and the head isn't exactly flat. You can see this little bump at the kind of bottom here. So basically, that's what limiting the backward, or the backward movement of the head to make it look up. So basically, it's just gonna look straightforward, and that's it. Down, it's going to look pretty okay, I'd say, due to the limited kind of neck joint anyway, because this is a polycap here. Still, you still get full rotation, a little bit of side to side, and pretty much zero forward and backwards movement. The torso doesn't move, doesn't really do anything at all. Technically, all it can do is rotate all the way around like so, but it is on a polycap here on a peg. So let me just take this off here so I can show you. So here's the peg sticking out, and it plugs into this polycap. So technically, if you wanted to, you could lift it up a little bit and get a little bit of a nap crunch there. So that is quite nice, but obviously if you wanted it facing flat, or like all the way flat like this, yeah, you're only going to get rotation. I got a very minuscule nap crunch if you have it all the way flat. The arms, actually, hold on, let me just take off the backpack here. I don't know what fell off. Oh, it's just a piece of the backpack. That part always falls off on me from my experience. So, the shoulders here do move up and down a little bit. Like that. The arms are plugged in via a peg into a polycap. So pretty much for their articulation, they go up to there, which is very, very bad. You still get full rotation. You get the arm all the way around. The backpack, obviously, it's going to hinder that a little bit because obviously it's a big backpack. So it's going to bump into that if you try to go all the way. But obviously without that, you're pretty much going to get full clearance. Yeah, again, full rotation here, and then a single bend here for about 90 degrees. Hands are on ball joints. As for the waist, with the mod I did, I can move the front skirt separately all the way, like that, of course. But I think you still get the same amount of movement if you have them together. But I can't really confirm or deny that because, unfortunately, I've already modded the front skirt on my other Ginn that I have, the high maneuver type, the original one. So, can't exactly show you that. Side skirts move up to about there, which is not bad. You can lift them up a little bit more, but you're basically kind of pulling off the polycap at that point. Back skirt does not move at all, and you have this peg here, which I think that's for the machine gun of the Ginn, but I'm pretty sure you could modify this or put a magnet for the beam carbine so you could store that there if you wanted. As for the leg articulation, the leg moves up all the way like that, which is pretty impressive forward kick. And there goes the leg armor and that piece. That's great. I'll just leave that off, honestly. I want to just focus on getting the rest of the articulation. So leg moves out to there, which is pretty alright for a ball socket hip joint here. Backwards, pretty much non-existent. The knee bend. Get the full bend here. Pretty much almost a full bend. You can't really ask for more than that. Honestly, if you're wondering if this is just more, if you were wondering like if you get any more articulation without that, pretty much it's the same articulation even with this extra leg armor, so that doesn't really hinder it too much, thankfully. These legs are just the same as the original Ginn, so if you had the leg missiles and you want to put it in here, of course you could gladly do that. As for the extra armor here down in the legs, or the foot armor, or the leg armor here, moves up and down like so. The back armor here moves up a little bit up and down. As for the foot, with this up, you get the foot forward to there. Point that down to there. And then some pretty decent in and outwards movement. So overall, the articulation is not bad. And there goes the other front skirt. Articulation isn't bad so far with this kit, but obviously probably the worst joints on this kit is the shoulder and the arm movement. And before we conclude with the articulation, take a look at the backpack here. Basically, the backpack has these two poly caps that plug into here, so unfortunately you can't really use this on other kits, but it could be somewhat easy to modify this to be used on any kit. Basically, I would just recommend taking the pegs, plugging them into the backpack, basically making this all completely flat. Try to get some plot plate, drill some new holes, and then have the backpack plug in like that, so you could just use any backpack rather than just this one. But with this plugged in, you do get a little bit of upwards and downwards movement with the backpack. And then you get a little bit of upward, downward movement here with the backpack. A little bit of forwards and backwards. And then with this all the way up, you can move this up and down like so. So that's it open, that's it closed. You can't really do that when it's like this, but when you have it like this, you can very easily do that. So articulation, not this thing's strongest point. So hopefully soon we could get a revive kit of this, because the articulation, not really that impressive. Now, before I finish up this review with a couple of test poses and some size comparisons, I did want to pretty much propose the question of, should you buy this Ginn High Maneuver Type 2? And even though I absolutely love this kit to bits, because I love the design, and I actually really enjoyed this kit, I say no, unfortunately. Although this kit, for its time, was probably decent, it's not really that great. Especially, obviously, the shoulder and arm movement is pretty much inexcusable. I could live with the fact that it has a single bend at the elbow, but the limited arm movement and shoulder movement is not really that great. And although you do get plenty of accessories, including some leftover parts, of course, like the shoulders, the extra backpack piece, the extra torso pieces, the shield, and of course the hand for holding onto the sword. Obviously, there are some better deals for 1,500 yen, which is what this kit retails for. I think for an extra $1 more, you could buy the Gundam, which obviously is part of the Fine Build system, and also the Dagger L, both of which are fantastic kits. This thing is really showing its age, and it definitely needs a revive. And if you're wondering if you wanted to buy a Ginn, obviously you do have some options. You have the Maneuver Type 2, the regular Maneuver Type, the Mobile Ginn, the remastered version of the Mobile Ginn, and then the Ginn Surgeon Type. And pretty much, if you wanted a Ginn, this one's not too bad, as you do get some leftover parts, which are quite useful. Probably the better deal would probably be the Ginn Insurgent type, as that thing also comes with a bazooka, along with just all the regular accessories that the original mobile Ginn came with. Or you just want the Ginn High Maneuver type with that really cool rifle that has the ability to plug the sword from the regular Ginn into the rifle, and then the different wing setups. So, I mean, it really depends on what you want for a specific Ginn. I mean, this thing does have its charm, and I personally love this kit to bits, but obviously I know this is not for everyone. So if you wanted a Ginn, I'd say just go for the Insurgent type or the just normal maneuver type, as I feel like those are probably they're probably better deals for your buck than this kit. But if you do love the design and you like 144 scale kits, this kit isn't too bad. But obviously with the release of the Master Grade Mobile Ginn, there is a possibility that we could also get a maneuver type too. Because as I went through everything, you could pretty easily see how easy it will be for Bandai to make a Master Grade version. All they really need to do is just give us new head parts, new torso parts, new shoulders, extra leg armor, shield, sword, beam carbine, and then the new piece on the backpack. So it's not that much work, I feel like, for Bandai. So they could make a Master Grade of this eventually, but we'll see. But anyways, let's move on to testing out some different poses. Right here is my best attempt to trying to get a kind of L strike pose with the beam carbine, the shield, and the sword. And of course, obviously, like I mentioned, I did drill a hole into this kit so I could put it on an action base, because otherwise, if you wanted to use this kit on an action base without drilling a hole, you would basically have to use that really shitty fork style connector, which I have not actually used, but I'm pretty sure it will limit the hip articulation of this kit if you do use that adapter. So do keep that in mind when you are trying to pose this kit on an actual action base. Though there is one thing to note, that the remastered version of the mobile Ginn does come with a different action base connector, where basically it's very interesting that it basically plugs, or like basically you take off the torso, you place the adapter where the torso plugs in, then put the torso on top of that. So very weird, but honestly it's just easier just to drill a hole just so you can use it on an action base. Here is my best attempt at trying to get a forward lunge. Whoa. Here's my best attempt at that. Does pull off kind of really cool actiony poses like this pretty easily. Obviously with it being on an action base, it's going to be a lot better at that job. So I do fully recommend you're drilling a hole underneath this kit. If you're wondering where to get a pin vise or anything, I bought the pin vise set from USA Gundam store. That has like a bunch of set drill bits of 1mm, 1.5mm, 2mm, 2.5mm, and 3mm. And basically I just went through each one slowly until I got to 3mm, then it's pretty much perfect. So if you were wondering how I basically got the hole there, that is pretty much how I did it. And here is a kind of different kind of pose, looking like he's an old warrior who just finished a battle. I don't know, I do really like this pose actually, now that I did this pose. I just kind of thought of it on a whim, and it actually looks really cool. So I might actually just keep him like this, but we'll see. Just trying to get, obviously, a good view here. I don't have a rotating base. I should probably get one, but at the moment, I don't have money for jack shit. And before I finish up this review, I did want to show off a couple of site comparisons. So here is the Man Roadie that I painted in Landman Roadie colors using parts from Option 6.6, or 9, I should say, sorry. Yeah, don't comment on my awful paint job. I did quite horrible here, but I also want to show a comparison with the Granddaddy Gundam, because technically these suits are basically almost the same size. I think this one is supposed to be like 2 meters taller, and because of the kind of long mohawk it does have, technically it's a bit taller than the RX-78 but obviously if you remove the mohawk somehow, this thing is clearly taller than the High Maneuver Type 2. Here is the High Maneuver Type 2 next to some older Gundam Seed Destiny high-grade kits. Over here we have the regular High Maneuver Type. If you were wondering about the shoulder pieces for this kit, they broke. So yeah, it doesn't have that. And honestly, those parts were kind of stupid anyway. So it's just like this now. So I do like this look. But yeah, here it is next to its kind of older brother. And here it is next to Luno Maria Hawk's Gunner Zaku Warrior, which I gotta say, I might actually review this because it is actually not that bad of a old HG kit. And finally, to wrap up this review, here is a size comparison with the high-grade Gundam Seed Destiny or Cosmic Era Destiny Gundam Revive. This is the Heine Westenflus custom version, which was a limited release kit. And here he is next to the Cosmic Era Windam. So obviously the Windam is quite tall, and the Destiny is also quite tall, pretty much towering the Ginn High Maneuver Type here. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys enjoyed this review. If you guys obviously have any critiques or anything of things I should improve or whatever, please feel free to leave them in the comment section down below. And consider joining my Discord server. Link to that's in the description. But I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Take care, everyone.